All right, welcome everybody to Real Talk. This is episode number 12, November 19th. I hope you all had a fantastic week and hope you all are staying a lot warmer than we are here in Wyoming. We got hit with kind of a surprise snowstorm early this morning. Wasn't even on the radar. Nobody was expecting it, but it dumped pretty heavy here on the snow. First time I had to get the snowblower out this year. So welcome everybody, and a special thank you to our moderators Tammy and Susan. Really do appreciate you guys a lot. And a special thank you to all of our members that are here today. Really do appreciate each and every one of you. Already have quite a good, bit of good questions lined up in the queue. But before we get started on those, just kind of wanted to recap a little bit. So, this week we came out with two really important videos. Now, these two videos that we came out with this week, they are really, really important episodes. The first one is the life of a slot machine. Now, right off the bat, a lot of people, they look at it and they say, oh, well, life of a slot machine, what good information could it have? Well, it actually has a lot of good information in that video. It answers all of those questions people ask, like what is the life of a slot machine? What is the process when the casino goes to order a slot machine? And what does the casino do when the slot machine gets off the floor? How do they decide? So all of those questions are in that video. So it's a really important video. If you haven't yet watched it, it's fresh in the library. The life of a slot machine, and the second one is about winning strategies. Now, this is a video that's really, really important because it really just kind of hammers home everything that we've talked about and why we go over what we go over here on this channel. About what is a winning slot strategy? What does that actually look like? And there's a lot of really, really good bits of information in that video. So if you haven't seen it, even if you've been around the channel for a long time, do go check both of those videos out because they are very, very helpful and very, very important. Next thing I wanted to talk about is we do have our holiday sale going on right now on swag. So, if you don't have poker chips or wristbands or anything like that, definitely the time to get it. We even have two new colors. It's a deeper purple color and a cool new green color. These are two new shades of green and purple. Those are actually on sale right now too. And I believe we only have like two swag packs left. Those are on sale and up to 60% off of bungee cords. So be sure to check it out. It's a lot of fun, and it does help out the channel a lot. So that being said, we'll go ahead. We're going to move into some questions because we've got quite a few good questions already built up here in the queue. So let me go ahead and I'm going to start off with this first one, Paul, because Paul was in here early. He asked his question right away. So Paul, thank you so much for that. Question: if I have 20% of the full bet amount when using the wager saver or lucky spin, do I have a 20% chance of winning? Yes, you do. That's actually a question that not a lot of people have asked before, but yes, that is exactly how those wager savers work. It bases your chances on how much money is in the machine in relation to the bet. So, for example, if you put $20 in the machine and you're betting $50, you've got almost a 50% chance of getting it or not getting it. But if you put a dollar in and you try to bet like 250, your chances are very, very low of getting it. So that's exactly how those wager savers work. You are 100% correct on that. Thank you very much for your question, Paul. And Robin says 190K subscribers. Pretty awesome. Thank you very much, Robin. And yes, we are very quickly approaching the next major milestone, which is 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're out there watching this, especially those of you watching on Facebook, be sure to head over to YouTube and subscribe. It's free. All you have to do is click that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. Hopefully we can get that before our 2-year anniversary, which is in February. And right now we're moving right along. So hopefully we will be able to hit that mark early. So thank you very much for that, Robin. And Rosemary has a question here. What happens if a machine malfunctions? So this is a good question. So the thing is machine malfunctions, they do happen, but they don't happen as often as people think. Typically a malfunction is going to be something simple. It's going to be something like a real tilt or something like that, something that's easily correctable. It typically will never affect getting paid out or, not getting paid. The very few times where people have been denied something because of a malfunction, it's usually because of something happened with the display of the screen, like it displayed the wrong amount, kind of thing. I know there was a news article out there that said something like, woman wins $10 million on a slot machine, but the casino denied her the payout. Well, what they didn't tell you is that machine doesn't even go up to $10 million. That was an actual error on the VFD display of the slot machine. So no, she won a little bit, but she didn't win $10 million. The machine doesn't even go up to that. Typically with slot malfunctions, most are corrected right there on site. There's usually never any kind of a delay or anything like that. Slot malfunctions are usually pretty small, pretty easy to deal with. You really shouldn't have any trouble, getting paid out because of a malfunction. All right. Michael has a good question. So, does volatility come into play in Washington State? So, we've had a couple new Washington State comments come in, and the answer to that is no. The reason being is when you're trying to determine yes, there is volatility with everything in life, but when you're trying to determine the volatility of a slot machine, you're determining it based on looking at its pay table, looking at in relation to your bet. But on games that's doing something on the back end, it's not you versus the machine. So if you're playing, say, for example, Washington State uses a VLT system. So you're not actually playing the machine in front of you. You're playing a lottery on the back end, and it's just displaying the results of the lottery in front of you in real form. So because of that, you really can't gauge volatility on those machines. Exact same thing with bingo, exact same thing with horse racing. So anytime there's a game going on at the back end, it becomes a lot more difficult. You really can't use volatility as a metric there. So I hope that helps to answer your question. Really do appreciate it. And we do have a lot of you piling in here, lots of questions coming in. Once again, guys, these streams do get very, very busy on Sundays. It is just me. So if I promise I'm not trying to ignore your question, but we get a lot of questions in these live streams. So if I happen to miss your question, please do go check out our website, ropethejackpot.com, where you can ask your questions 24/7. We have a chat room. It's a very active chat room, actually. There's a lot of people on there. So don't hesitate to use that. It's a free resource. You don't have to pay anything. So check that out, ropethejackpot.com. All right. So let's go ahead and get back on some questions here. Let me try to figure out where I left off. Got a lot of questions piled up here, so apologize if I'm looking over here. I'm trying to find out where I left off. All right, Gauntlet Glide, Utah. Do you have any plans to visit Mesquite, Nevada anytime soon? They have an awesome old school slots at 3 locations. Nothing planned, nothing right now. Typically, I pass through Mesquite when I'm going to Vegas, but I am not going to Vegas during F1. It's way too crazy. It's way too difficult to get into any casino down there. Again, I drive down there, so no, I'm not going during F1. It's going to be a while until I go back down there. All right. Jeff Barnes has a question. Have you noticed less and less analog wheel machines on the floor? Excalibur got rid of all of the quick hit older machines. Why? I hit 6,400 on penny slot there last year. This is actually a question that was answered in that life of a slot video that we did this week. So there's a bunch of reasons why, but usually the older machines, it's because of a lack of parts. These machines do break. They do break down. I mean, even parts that you're not really able to see. Power supplies go bad. It's really difficult to find. I had a power supply go out in mine. It's really difficult to get those parts now. So mostly casinos don't want to mess with it. There's other reasons too, such as sometimes the casinos do get offered a trade-in credit. Those machines can be sold to actually get them a profit to get newer machines. So there's a bunch of reasonings behind it. But all right. RS says, question, can you do an episode or episodes on owning a slot machine at home, care, repair, etc.? Thanks in advance. Love your channel. It can be something we consider. I've done an episode before about home slot machine ownership. Actually, I think there's 2 episodes about slot machine home ownership in the library. But I can always look into doing another one. All right. And Jeff says, thank you for all you do. You're very welcome. When are you going to make a trip to Atlantic City? Atlantic City is not on my travel list just yet. That is pretty far out there. So probably not going to go out there anytime soon. Travel Of course, it's that time of year. It gets difficult, especially in Wyoming, to travel out anywhere. So, probably not going to happen anytime soon, but I will definitely keep you posted. And we got a 4.99 super chat here from Marjorie. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. What are your thoughts on being uh, what are your thoughts on being on book covers? Oh, that's an interesting one. It would depend on the book. It would depend on the book, but uh, I guess I would be open to it. But again, it would just depend on the book. So thank you very much for that super chat. Really do appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Richard says, in Kentucky, when our machines are HHR, are the bonus spins predetermined? Are they still on HHR randomizer? Also, we have red screens machines. Also, are these considered bingo machines or still HHR? Good question. So, it would be considered HHR if you're in an HHR facility and it's doing some kind of a respin action thing. Still going to be an HHR machine. Typically, HHR and bingo usually don't mix. Bingo and class 3, typically, you'll find a facility where they mix the two, but I have yet to see a facility that mixes HHR and bingo. On those games, yes, the bonuses are always going to be predetermined on that. And we have KC as Tech is here. Thank you so much, Ethan, for joining in. Ethan is our video editor. He's been doing an amazing job. So thank you very much, Ethan, for being in here today. Really do appreciate it. And hey, if you're not following Ethan's channel, he has his own channel. Be sure to check it out. KC is Tech. All right. Detroit casinos have reached a tentative deal, but they are still picketing for now. That's a good update on that. All right. Phil here says, when you are at a slot machine and you win 1, 2, or 5,000 and it says to call attendant, is there a call button on the machine or do you leave the machine to get someone? Good question. So typically speaking, in most casinos nowadays, typically they're going to be notified automatically. So they will get a notice in the back usually, or they'll get a call on the radio that there's a jackpot. If they don't come out anytime soon, you can always get up and go find somebody. Can't really do much with the machine when it's locked up. So just don't leave any personal belongings around. And usually there should be somebody pretty close by. And we have a 1999 super chat here from George. George, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. George says, I'm back just for fun going to Vegas. I have a $15,000 budget and $1,500 in free play. What's the strategy? Start with free play, low volatility, and build bankroll, or switch to free play on high volatility? What would you do? Good question. Well, if it was an MGM property doing MGM free play, I would use the 1500 in Cherry's Jubilee, probably the $5 denom, and then you do have a pretty big budget. So, 10 per, the 1% rule, you can go pretty high on your bet amount. It would depend on your stay. How long are you staying? Always try to pace yourself a little bit though. Don't get too excited. Even with a bigger budget, I know it's hard. But I would pace yourself, try to maybe break it up. If you're staying for multiple days, break it up over X amount of days, give yourself a daily limit, a daily budget. But for that free play, personally for me, I would do Cherry's Jubilee if it was an MGM free play offer. If not, normally, and everybody does free play differently, but typically for me, what I would do is I would do something, fun and out of the ordinary because, again, it's free play. So I would try a bigger bet or something that's a little bit higher in volatility with my free play. Best of luck to you, and thank you so much for your super chat. All right. And let's see, been asking this question for weeks and you never pick mine. What's your thoughts on White Orchid? Can you do a video on this game in the future? So I've seen White Orchid around. I have not played it, but I can definitely check it out next time I see it. And again, our streams do get very busy, guys. You got to remember, right now there are 470 of you. We're broadcasting on 2 platforms. We broadcast on Facebook and we broadcast on YouTube. Anytime there are questions come in, the program that we use here, it takes all those questions in from both platforms and just kind of merges them together. So I cannot answer every single person's question. So that's why we have the website, which is ropethejackpot.com, where you can ask questions anytime, 24/7. So be sure, if I don't answer your question here, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just because, again, 500 of you, 1 of me. It's difficult. All right. Barry says, how is the bonus on Eagle Bucks with HHR format figured is each spin another horse race. So typically with that, the bonuses are going to be predetermined on the horse race that you ran prior. So when you push the button, you run the horse race, you get the bonus. That bonus amount has already been predetermined at the end. That's exactly how that works. Let's see here. Nancy says, I know volatility is number one in picking machines. With Class 2 bingo games, you're not playing the RNG, which is correct. Is the volatility the same when playing Piggy Bank versus Three Reel, Mr. Moneybag, both being Class 2? So the volatility, again, it's really, really difficult. You really can't use volatility as a metric when you're playing Class 2 machines. The biggest thing for Class 2 is to really focus on your budget. That's going to be primary focus. And really, it would depend on the server that they're on. So, are they the same denomination? Is that casino using one server pool for that area, for that denomination, for that bank? It's really kind of a loaded question, but to sum it up, you really can't use volatility on bingo machines or any other type of game that uses another game on the back end of it. Let's see here. Bernardo on Facebook says, is it better to play low denom or higher denom to win? That is a loaded question. First thing is, it really depends on your budget. You should never, as a gambler, you should never go outside of your budget for any reason whatsoever. And this is why I'm going to mention it again. This is why that video, the winning strategies video that I put out this week, it's really, really, really important. Because that talks a lot about this exact thing. Is just because payback percentage does not matter to you, the player, at all. It explains that in that video. So again, if you missed that video, please do go check it out. I know you're asking on Facebook, so go check out on YouTube. All right. $7.77 super chat here from Nick. Great channel. Thank you so much, Nick. Really do appreciate it. All right. John says, is there really a win availability on turning up the volume all the way? Some people that have channels say if you turn the volume up all the way, it increases your odds by winning 8.2%. So the short answer is no. But also, this is again one of those things. It was mentioned in that video. That's why I keep referencing this video, because it's a really important video that you guys need to watch. It was put out like 2 days ago. It's the winning strategies video on the YouTube channel. So please do go watch that video, because it describes this exact thing. The thing is, nothing you can do as a player, nothing. And honestly, this one statement right here, this one quote, can answer almost every single question you've ever had about slot machines. Nothing that you as a player can do can alter a slot machine. Not your player's card, not pushing the button real fast, not turning up the volume. None of that changes your odds. None of that does anything with the slot machine. And honestly, here's the story behind the volume thing. So, the volume thing was actually started as a joke. It was started as a joke to kind of prove how gullible gamblers are. That's sad. But yes, that is the story behind it. It was started as a joke. So guys, again, if you just remember the one thing, there's nothing that you as a player can do to alter a slot machine. That should answer pretty much every single question. But we talk about that in that slot strategies video. So please do go watch that. It's on YouTube. And like I said, it was put out this week, so it's fresh on the list. Please do go check that out. $4.99 super chat here. What is a good budget for $1 Denom Cherries Jubilee? I usually like to play top dollar and pinball, but looking forward to trying Cherries Jubilee. Thanks. Good question. So, with Cherries Jubilee, here's the thing. You don't have to go crazy with Cherries Jubilee. You do have a much better chance of winning on Cherries Jubilee, but it is still that. It is still just a chance. There's nothing, again, it's still a slot machine. It still has a house edge. So even though it's a very good slot machine, it still has a house edge. I have seen people put $20 in and hit it right away first spin. I have also seen people put a couple hundred in and not get it at all. So probably a pretty good budget. I would start with just $100. I would start with $100 just to see. It's $3 a spin to do. So I would start with just $100 and see how that pans out. Normally Cherries Jubilee, again, it's pretty good, but it's also still a slot machine. So just keep that in mind. All right. Simon says Buffalo Gold, is it high in volatility? Yes, it is high in volatility. It's not as high as some of the other newer, crazier Buffalo games that are coming out, but it is on the higher end of the volatility scale. And Lisa said, just donated on the website. Thanks for all you do, Brantley and Ethan. Thank you very much, Lisa. I really do appreciate that. Yes, we do have donations available on the website as well. So if you don't feel like doing a super chat, you can always donate on the website. That's really appreciated. So thank you very much. All right. Rebel Sun says, not true. On Firelink machines, we can stop the reels. Guys, we've done videos on this. It says it in the game rules. There's nothing you can do to alter the outcome of a spin. And this is how that fast stopping works. When you push the spin button on a game that allows fast stopping, all it does is it has to have all of those reels decided when you hit that spin button. So when you hit the spin button, it already knows where it's putting all of the reels. Stopping it is not going to do anything for you. It's not. It says it right there in the game rules. We've got videos on this. We've covered this. It's not a skill factor. So slot machines are not designed like that. All right. Brett says, how would you play $12,000 in free play at the win? Well, $12,000 in free play is a lot of free play. I would have a lot of fun with that. Honestly, that is a big amount of free play to have, especially at the win. You know, they have really, really good. I would play higher level pinball, higher level top dollar. That's just me. But again, do what you will with it, but that's a lot of free play. So hey, good on you for getting that 12,000 in free play. All right. Let's see. K Pat says, have to admit, I love Huff and Puff, even though it often gives a lot of dead spins. You know, here's the thing: Huff and Puff and Huff and More Puff is a really, really fun game. Nobody can deny that. Huff and More Puff is really, really fun, but it is super high in volatility. It is really difficult to get that bonus. And even when you do get the bonus, you can get some pretty bad bonuses. But it is a really fun game. Absolutely it is. All right. And Tom says, what is the difference between pinball and progressive pinball? Good question. So there is no difference with that. Pinball has the option. I mean, even my pinball machine that I have at the house, I can change it to have a progressive meter on it or not have a progressive meter. It's just an option. It doesn't change anything about the game or how it plays or anything like that. Typically, all that progressive does is just replace the static amount that the 3 double diamonds would normally play or pay. So no difference in that. Amelia says, Amelia on Facebook, on Cherry's Jubilee, is it better to look for the one with the higher progressive because it's going to hit soon? As you mentioned before, the threshold for the $3 max, it's very rare to reach 1,200 on their progressive. Good question. So, you know, here's the thing. All of the Cherry's Jubilee machines are going to have the exact same odds, no matter what the progressives are. So you can have a progressive that just reset to 1,000 and it can hit back to back like that. Or you can have a progressive that keeps climbing. The odds of hitting it are going to be exactly the same. It's not a must hit buy. However, it's always best to sit down at the game that has the higher progressive, because if you've got the same chance on all the machines, wouldn't you want to hit the higher one? I personally, I would sit down at the higher one, not because your odds are better or your chances are better. Your chances are going to be the same, but because your chances are the same, why not go for the bigger one? All right. And C. Dav says, on the new NFL game, does it really matter which team you pick for winning? No, it does not matter. It's 100% your preference. The machine's going to act the same no matter what team you pick. And we have a $49.99 super chat from Terry. Terry, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. Thank you for all your videos and happy Thanksgiving. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And thank you guys so much for all the super chats, super stickers. They are extremely helpful to the channel. We really do appreciate it. So thank you all so much. All right. And thank you for the good questions. You guys have some great questions coming in tonight. And again, if you're just now coming in, I apologize if I missed any questions, but it does get very busy. It gets very difficult to go through all the questions. So if I happen to miss any, I promise I'm not missing them on purpose. All you have to do is ask on ropethejackpot.com if I do happen to miss your question. All right. Robert says thoughts on gas station casinos in Montana. Do they have a higher RTP? Higher RTP, again, even if they did have a higher RTP, you as the player are not going to notice a difference. The RTP is really more of a casino metric to show them how much that they're going to get over time of the life of the machine. It really has nothing to do with you as a player in your individual session. As for what they are set at Montana gas station gas stations, I have no clue on that one. So I'll have to check them out. Montana's not too far, so I might have to get out to Montana sometime here soon. Let's see. And Mr. Panama 9 Red says on multiple wage machines, are the odds different for each denom? So typically, yes, the odds are going to be different for each denomination. Typically, the odds do go up with the denoms, but always do keep in mind, and this is something that I really stress a lot. And again, if you have not watched the slot strategies video or the life of a slot machine video that we put out this week, please do go check that out, because a lot of these questions get answered in those two videos, and especially on payback percentage and stuff like that. The odds, the RTP, payback percentage, whatever you want to call it, it's all going to be the same. They're, even though they are different, it's not different enough for you to go outside of your budget. Your budget should always be priority number one. So if you have a higher budget, then yes, it's good to go to the upper denoms, but don't push yourself to do it. All right, $4.99 from George. In the world of double diamond, which is best? Double diamond deluxe, regular double diamond, triple double diamond? There are more, but which ones and how many lines? Good question. So really, within the double diamond family, if you're wanting to talk about volatility, they're really going to all be roughly the same. So if you have a choice, really it's player choice on what you want to play. None is going to be substantially better than the other. A lot of people like Double Diamond Deluxe because it has the deluxe feature where it moves the reels. Triple Diamond is nice because if you get the Triple Diamond, it will pay you something, whereas on Double Diamond, if you just get the double, it doesn't pay you anything. So that's kind of an added benefit of playing the Triple Diamond version. And how many lines? I would always recommend 5 lines. If there's a 5-line version, great. Now, one thing I would avoid is 5 reel games or anything that gets really, really crazy. They have some double diamonds out there that are 5 reels. Those would be definitely a no-go on that. All right. Are all progressives predetermined? What happens if someone isn't doing max bet to win the progressive and hits that amount? Good question. So are all progressives predetermined? No, they are not. The only ones that are predetermined on when they're going to hit is going to be a must hit by progressive, and it will state somewhere on the machine must hit by. Those are the only ones that are going to be progressives that are predetermined to hit at a specific amount. If someone's not doing max bet and they hit the combo to get the progressive, they just don't get paid the progressive. Typically, there's another prize that'll be offered. It depends on the game. Typically, there's something else. Like I know on Cherry's Jubilee, for example, if you're not playing the max on Cherry's Jubilee and you get the 3 Cherry's Jubilee, it'll give you like $100. So always check, though. Always check, because each game is very, very different. Mary says my state only has VLTs worth playing. Any tips for those? So you can win money on VLTs, just like you can win money on horse racing. You can win money on bingo machines. They each have their own kind of individual uniqueness to them. Are they worth playing? Yes, but I wouldn't go too crazy with them. I would not devote as much time to a VLT as I would to an actual slot machine, if that makes sense. Cheap slots and cheap gambling, $1.99 super sticker. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. All right. Terry says, if you buy a slot machine for home use, can you ask the slot providers to set the payouts higher? Good question. So when you buy a slot machine for home use, typically it is going to come with the chips that it came with from wherever it came from. So, I have some machines. I have some machines at my house that I've gotten from casinos, and their jurisdiction only has one option for payback percent, and it's set at that. But You can typically order chips depending on what kind of machine it is. But usually you can set it within a range of a higher option or a lower option. There's typically 5 to 10 settings. Again, it really depends on the machine, but you can always set it to whatever that maximum is. But it depends on where that jurisdiction was that it came from, because usually it only has the jurisdiction chips in it from where it came from. All right. And Lucky Jewel Slots, watched your Nevada road trip video when it first came out, heading to Jackpot, Nevada next weekend. Do you think the coin slots are still there? Good question. So I think they are still there. They're very, very popular up there in Jackpot. However, the a couple people at that casino in Jackpot actually did mention that the coin slots were probably going to go away soon. Now these coin slots are cool because, like, I know, like in Vegas, you know, what is it? Circus still has some coin slots, but they're like kind of these weird generic, like was it Magnificent Seven or something coin slots. But in Jackpot, they actually have the games that we know and love, like Double Diamond, Triple Diamond, Top Dollar, in the coin variation. So it's cool to be able to play those and not just Majestic Sevens or whatever Vegas has. All right. Scar 22, can you talk about slot hustlers when they see a machine and a positive, they just want to play it and win a few bucks and repeat? Is that it? So the thing is, there are so many crazy myths out there that people just absolutely love to digest. The only slot machines that really would be, I guess, worth really watching and paying attention to would be the must hit by progressives. That's it. Other than that, other slot machines of that nature, there's really no reason to stock them. You can still lose on it. So that's something that I don't understand. Again, it's just a lot of myths and stuff that are out there. All right. Why does a slot machine seem to get so tight after big wins? It doesn't. The slot machine does not get tight. Slot machines. Here's the thing. Every single spin on a slot machine is an independent event. From the last spin, it doesn't know what's coming next. That's the whole purpose of a slot machine. It does not know what's coming next. It's random number generated. So it's not going to get tight after a big win or anything like that. There have been many, many times that I have sat down and I have played, I've played slots and I've gotten a really big hit followed by a back-to-back jackpot. It happens. They don't get tight after, after a big win. Any advice for VGT slots? Biggest advice is watch your money. Again, you're playing bingo. You're not playing slots. So with those VGT slots, just watch your money. I will say this: a lot of times with bingo, depending on the facility, bingo-based slots, you can win pretty good amounts of money off of a lower bet. So if I were to go play, a red screen machine or something like that, I might play a lower bet just because I know that there's still that potential to get, much bigger money from it. And the potential is really the same. So that's what I would do. Really focus on your budget. And Jay says, what is the best slot for high rollers, $5,000 bankroll? So if you're working with a bankroll that's larger and you want to do some high rolling, honestly, stick with a game that's going to be lower in volatility. Now, a lot of people say that the lower in volatility games are not as fun. Well, if you're are you wanting to make money or are you wanting to have fun? If you're wanting to make money, the lower volatility games are really going to be where it's at because it's going to make the ride last a little bit longer. If you're just wanting to risk it all and just, go for it and put all 5,000 in and just go for it and see, I mean, you can try a higher in volatility game, but just know that it might not last very long. In terms of best slots to play for that amount of budget, I would say, again, I honestly have to recommend Pinball Top Dollar. The reason being, especially at the higher levels, pinball is probably going to give you a jackpot. especially if you're working with that amount of money. Now it can't, you can always still lose on it. But typically pinball top dollar is going to be the easiest ones in the higher level to get a jackpot on. LB Fitz, does it honestly make a difference if you bet lower or max on a penny other than payout? It's very game specific. Some yes, some no. So, for example, if you have there's a couple different versions of Buffalo out there. So if you're playing, let's say, a Buffalo machine, a newer version of the Buffalo game, if you check in the game rules, if you look in the game rules, there might actually be a difference in bet level. I know piggy banking is one of them. So piggy banking, for example, it actually does state in the game rules that the higher that you bet, you have a greater chance of getting a bigger pig, or thus the grand jackpot, or filling the screen, something like that. So it really for this one, it's going to be very game specific on that. So sorry to give such a vague answer, but yes, it is very game specific when it comes to should you play minimum or should you play maximum. 9.99 super chat from George. George, thank you so much. I think Buffalo Ascension might be an advantage game. If you scroll through the denoms, some reels are closer to the Stampede feature, meaning you are closer to those features. Also, that game sucks for real. There are a couple games out there, and this is actually this is an interesting story. So there are a couple games out there that actually look like they are advantage games. However, they're really not advantage games. So, yes, you do have, obviously like that arrow getting closer and closer and closer. I know exactly which game you're talking about, but it's also very possible to trigger that feature at any point. The arrow doesn't have to be all the way up. You can still randomly trigger that feature at any point. Um, Also, that arrow can get up there and it can just sit up there for the longest amount of time. There's another game out there, Legend of the Phoenix is a great example of this. So, Legend of the Phoenix, it has the three different bonus spins that are must hit buys, and they will say like must hit before 15, like before the number reaches 15, but it will get all the way up to 14, and it can sit there for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of spins and barely hardly ever get to that 15. So always be careful of that, because the biggest difference is, so for example, we can look at the Ainsworth games. Ainsworth must hit by progressives. That bet meter, to get the progressive meter, it's going at the same rate every single time. So if you're sitting there and you're betting $10, if you're betting $10, it's going to add the same amount to that progressive meter every single spin. It doesn't work like that on certain other games. So, like, for example, on Legend of the Phoenix, Legend of the Phoenix, it's like, okay, well, it might add a spin now and again, but then to get that 15th one is really difficult to do, and it can sit there for a long time. So just be cautious of that, and always keep that in mind. Okay. Our rat, how do you tell high volatility from low volatility games? So this is one. There are several. I'm gonna direct you to this website. I'm putting this website up on the screen right here, myslotguide.com. So this website right here has everything broken down, from the how to pick a slot video to a guide, a written out guide of each step. And then below those, it has all the videos that pertain to picking a slot machine, including how to tell what the volatility is. So rather than going into a long, lengthy answer, I'm going to redirect you to this website right here, myslotguide.com. Also, you can still get lock boxes and all of that on there as well. There's on this website, there's also the interview with the IRS tax agent. There's a lot on there. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. And of course, it's always free. All right. Donna says, do cruise ships have bingo slots? No, they do not. Cruise ships do not have bingo slots. They're all going to be regular, traditional class 3 style slot machines. John on Facebook says, what about cats, bats, and hats? Is it worth playing? I've seen some people have a lot of fun with this game. I don't think I would personally play it. It's a little bit on the upper volatility scale, at least for my liking, but it's a fun game, I've heard. I haven't personally played it yet, so I really can't give too much advice on it. Bullion Bear, good to see you. Can keeping your player's card next to your cell phone, like in the same pocket, affect the ability for the card to be read by the card reader? I have not had this issue. Um, Most of the times, players' cards will not be affected by that. I've not had that issue. I know what you're talking about. Sometimes, like if you leave a hotel key or something in there, players' cards typically are not going to use that RFID that hotel keys do. So, usually, no, it shouldn't be affected. One more jackpot 499 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I've seen one person playing three machines when it's clearly posted one player per machine. Can the casino have that person stop playing? Thank you. If it is posted, then that is a casino policy. So yes, they can. You just have to go find a slot attendant or somebody on the floor to ask them to stop and only play one machine. Um, but yes, they can stop them if, of course, they choose to. All right, Daniel says, "Where can I purchase a Wheel of Fortune marquee like in the background?" Oh, so this the sign up here. So this I got. I can't remember where I got that actual sign from. I know you cannot purchase the Wheel of Fortune machines themselves, but signs and stuff like that occasionally come up. They're just kind of everywhere at random. Usually, I usually find stuff. I usually will find stuff like that going through like little stores in Las Vegas and stuff like that, or talking to other dealers and stuff like what do they have in their junk bin today. I'm going to go through it and usually we'll find stuff like that. All right. Mhm. Julie says, do you have help for Keno play on the King machines? So Keno is one. I've gotten asked a lot of times to do a video on Keno. And I will just say this, if I did a video on Keno, it could probably fit into a 30-second short. All Keno is basically it's just like a rapid form of Powerball. Essentially, it works pretty much the same way. You've got all these numbers, the machine randomly picks numbers. If you match X number of those numbers, you get a prize, or you don't get a prize, or you get a level of prize, or something like that. Um, there's really not a strategy to Keno, just like there's really not a strategy to the lottery. I mean, you can pick your favorite numbers and hope for the best. I see people doing all kinds of crazy Keno strategies where, it's like they only pick corners or they pick a square or something like that. There's really not much to Keno. So that's the most I can give advice on Keno. It's really not the best game to play. I know Keno has a really, really big following out there. A lot of people really love Keno. And hey, if you're sitting at a bar and you're having fun and you want to play some Keno, that's fine as long as you're getting your enjoyment from it and as long as it's entertaining to you. But really, Keno is just kind of one of those where there's really not much to it, unfortunately. 999 super chat here from Matthew. Matthew, thank you so much. You guys are rocking it with those super chats today. I really do appreciate it. And we have over 600 of you watching now on all platforms. So welcome to everybody. I know you're not a fan of Moneyline. I've hit two jackpots on it recently. It doesn't seem very volatile. Your thoughts? So Moneyline, it's not so much the volatility of Moneyline. I don't think it's a super volatile game. It's pretty middle of the road, I would say. I just don't like how it actually plays out. It's just it's weird how it plays out. But I'm glad that you got jackpots on it. Hey, you know what? Everybody has different tastes when it comes to their slot machines. So thank you very much for the super chat, and I'm super happy that you did well on it. Right. Let's see. I always ask the casino manager before recording as a courtesy to the casino. I have never been told no. Yes, if you are going to record in the casino, if you want to record your slot play, most casinos are fine with it, but a lot of casinos do require that you ask first. I know MGM has a new program in place. You actually do have to fill out. You have to fill out a form. Some casinos will make you fill out this form, this application process type deal. MGM Properties is one of those. So if you do want to record at MGM, you do have to file a form to be able to get permission, but every casino is different. But yes, it's always courteous. You always want to ask because every casino's policy is very different. All right, Miguel says, I know you've said each denom is its own game, but what about when you switch multipliers? So when you switch multipliers, there's no difference. There's no difference in the programming whatsoever. So the only time the machines are programmed based on the denomination, so that's where they start. So that denomination gets programmed, and then the next denomination gets programmed. There's no programming that happens for different bet amounts. So good question. LB Fitz says a lot of people like Huff and Puff. What about you? I like Huff and Puff. It is a fun game, but yes, again, it's definitely one of those that is really really high in volatility. Tammy is reminding everybody, please do be sure to like this video. We have Tammy says there's 470 of you watching on YouTube right now, only 183 likes. So hit that like button if you have not yet done so. And hey, if you're watching on your mobile phone, all you have to do is swipe out of the chat, and then you can hit that like button. Since we do have about 600 of you in here, just as a quick reminder, too, two very, very important videos came out this week. Two very, very important videos. I'm going to stress that again because it answers a lot of questions. The first one came out on Tuesday. It's the life cycle of a slot machine. A lot of those common questions get answered in that video. What is the life of a slot machine? Why does the casino keep removing old machines? What happens to a progressive when they pull it off of the floor? All of those questions are answered in that video from Tuesday. And then on Friday, the video came out about slot strategies. What exactly is slot strategy? Is it a real thing? Is there really a strategy to all of these slot machines? Well, the answer is in that video, and that video also goes into a lot of in-depth detail, especially about RTP, payback percentage, all of these myths and stuff that people keep hearing about. That video talks about it all. So if you have not seen those two videos, two big important videos, please do go watch it. And if you are watching on YouTube, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is 100% free to subscribe, and we post all the full videos get posted onto YouTube. Just to give you guys just a kind of a quick thing, YouTube has about 410 videos. Facebook maybe has like 5 full videos, full episodes. So if you're on Facebook, you're really, really missing out on a lot. So be sure to head over to the YouTube channel. And if you're not sure where to find all the videos about all the stuff we talk about, maybe if you're new to learning on how to pick a slot machine, if you're new to all this, we made a website just for you. It's myslotguide.com. That website pretty much walks you through everything and every step of the process, because there's 10 steps. Every step of the process, there's a video that's associated with that. So be sure to check out that website as well. All right. Dark Oblivion, do you think the hold and spin craze is here to stay? It seems like almost every new game uses that mechanic. What kind of new mechanics do you hope we will see in the future? So I am right there with you. The thing is, the hold and spin, it really is a craze. And it's funny because crazes come and go, especially in gaming. Before the hold and spin feature was a big thing, it was, let's see, 88 Fortunes was the game that was really big right before the hold and spin started to take off. I know Lightning Link kind of set everything in motion, and then out came Dragon Cash, Dragon Link, all of that. People really do enjoy that feature. It's hard to say what the next craze is going to be, but it definitely is a craze. I mean, we can look back in history and see like Wheel of Fortune was a massive craze back in the day. Like everybody wanted wheels. And then you see all these other games started going to, wheels. And that's where a lot of these classic games came from that have giant wheels on it. It was inspired by Wheel of Fortune. And now, we've got all of the craze out with all of the hold and spin feature games. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes. There's really no way to tell. It's going to take a really creative game designer to pull people away from that hold and spin feature. All right. Do you know any legitimate online crypto casinos? Those are the two biggest words. Then legitimate online crypto casinos? No, I do not. The only legitimate online casinos that I can tell you that are 100% legitimate are going to be Caesars, MGM, and FanDuel, and there's is it DraftKings too. They have, I think, online games. Those are the ones that actually follow regulations and guidelines. Everything else, no. Trey says, are certain bingo patterns better than others? Yes and no. Again, it really depends. It depends on the game that you're playing, because there is different patterns for different games and stuff like that. So it really just depends on that. We got two super chats coming in. You guys are rocking it tonight. Thank you so much. $20 from BuzzNet Slots. BuzzNet, thank you very much. Hey, Brantley, here's a little kickback for the channel for recommending the pocket-sized gamble box. When I returned home, I had $1,200. It is a must for all. Thanks, Brantley. You are very welcome. I recommend everybody, if you are a gambler, I'm telling you, this little box helps. And they do make good stocking stuffers too, because they are pretty small and they fit in your pocket. If you don't have a cash lock box, it's really awesome. You lock it, you leave the key at home. It has a little slot in it. If you win a jackpot or if you're doubling your money, you can put your money into the box. It's good bankroll management. And not only that, I'm sure you can attest to this too, Buzznet. It's actually fun when you get home. You drive home from the casino, or you finally get home from your trip, and you can unlock this box, and then out comes the cash. I know I have some bigger lock boxes that I normally will bring with me when I go on my trips, and those are always super fun to open, because I never know. I mean, there's times that I've opened it up and I've had, you know, thousands of dollars in there, and I was like, oh, I thought I only put in a couple hundred. So if you don't have a lockbox and you'd like to get one, I have all of those links available on myslotguide.com. Just scroll down, you'll see the lockboxes, and there's even different options for if you want a smaller one or a bigger one. So thank you so much for sharing your story, Buzznet. And $9.99 here from Ray Day Pinball. On multi-denom games with a mini minor that go up with the denom, am I correct in my theory that the chance of hitting those are proportional to the bet multiplier, not denom? So it sort of cancels out. So on those, it really, again, it's one of those that's very game specific. So typically it will actually say in the game rules if your chances do increase or don't increase. um, but it's normally pretty on par and proportionate with your bet amount. So just I'll kind of throw out a little example here. So like if you're playing on Dragon Cash, for example, if you're betting, $20, if you're betting $20, you're going to get, if you get the hold and spend feature, you're going to get balls that are normally around the $20. But if you're betting like $100 or $200 and that's starting to push what that mini is, you might get more, minis and minors and stuff like that that pop up. So always check those game rules though, because it really depends on the game. I hope that helps to answer your question. So thank you very much for that. Nick M, can you answer check the video? You can answer check the videos, but my question is there a benefit to playing 3 lines on a 5 line? I have added up the lost winnings, and and is less than the savings of playing 3 lines. Anytime, if you are on a 5 line game, it is always beneficial to play all 5 lines. The only times that those are different is on, again, game specific. 99.9% of the time, if you're on a 5 line game, you want to play all 5 lines. If you are on, say, for example, a Ainsworth must hit by progressive, it does not matter how many lines you're playing. It does not matter at all, because that progressive meter goes up by the money that you're actually betting. So if you're betting more per line but less lines, that progressive meter is still going up to the same. So it's very game specific on that, but 99.9% of the time, it is always beneficial to play all the available lines. So I hope that helps to answer your question there. Class 2 bonus predetermined. Yes, class 2 bonuses are definitely predetermined on that one. And Susan, I hope you had a wonderful trip to Las Vegas, came home with money. So that is good. I'm glad to see you back, Susan. I hope you had a great trip. All right. Well, we are almost to our 1 hour mark, so I will take a couple more questions and then we will round out the show. Just as a reminder, tomorrow is Member Monday. We have so much fun in our Member Monday shows. If you're not yet a member and you would like to become one, Tammy's reminding everybody on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central, we always have an additional live stream, an additional Q&A just for members. We have a lot of fun. It's low key. We'll sit there, we'll play some slots, and usually we do some member giveaways on there. So if you haven't yet become a member and you would like to, it's 100% optional, and the links are always in the video description down below. Also, do not forget our sale is going on right now for swag. If you don't yet have poker chips, anything like that, swag sales help to benefit the channel, and they're also really cool. We've got 2 new colors of these poker chips that are out, which are also on sale right now for the holidays, as well as some wristbands, cord bungees, all that fun stuff. So if you want to get yourself some casino swag, head on over to our website, ropethejackpot.com. It's on sale for the holiday season, limited time only. All right. Kevin M says, what is your opinion on Konami video slots? How is their volatility? So Konami typically has pretty high in volatility games, but they do have some good games, and they actually have some good math on some of their games. For example, like Wealth of Dynasty. We just talked about Wealth of Dynasty. It was in one of our top 5 best. It was actually number 3, and it's a Konami game. That game can last a really, really long time. It's a higher volatile game that kind of acts like a low volatile game because it usually is pretty even keeled on what it gives you for your bets and stuff like that. So Konami does a good job with their games. They've got really good math behind their games. Another one is what is that called? China Shores. China Shores is another really good one. You can get a lot of free games from that. All right. John says, what is upcoming on the channel in December? You will have to wait and see. We will have a special episode that comes out in December to talk about some really big, exciting things. So you just have to wait and see on that. Ray Day Pinball, why are the questions coming from Ken? We ask them here. I tried to super chat, but it hasn't shown up as a question. There is just like a long queue. If you've got a really in-depth question, guys, again, if you've got a really in-depth question, our website is probably going to be the best place to go. If there's something that you really want a lot of details on, or something that maybe you've been trying to ask in the show and I haven't been able to answer, ropethejackpot.com/chat is going to be probably the best option. And again, it's a very active forum. There's actually over 10,000 conversations on there right now, and they're getting answered every single day. So check that out. It also is available internationally and stuff like that. And you can even talk to people in your own area, and that's 100% free resource. So if you do have a really in-depth question, or if I might have missed your question or anything like that, please do go back and check that out. Again, I always try to remind people too, this is a busy show. There's been over 600 of you guys in here tonight. Really, really appreciate each and every one of you for coming in here and asking your questions. But 600 plus of you guys, sometimes with multiple questions, and me just being one person, it's impossible for me to answer every single question. So that's why we've got that website resource that is available. All right. And Silver Queen says, Christmas chip coming soon. Yes, the Christmas poker chip. We talked about this on the website forums too. There is going to be a special limited edition Christmas poker chip. It is coming soon. It's in production. So as soon as it is here, I will list those for sale. And Susan's reminding everyone, yes, Member Monday is tomorrow. So don't forget, if you are a member of the channel, to come and join us for Member Monday. It's a lot of fun. It's more laid back. So absolutely. But anyway, guys, so with that being in mind, we are almost at our 1 hour mark here. We're going to go ahead. We're going to end the show, round out with that. A lot of excellent questions that came in tonight. Just as a reminder, please do go back and watch those 2 videos from this week. The life cycle of a slot machine. It's really interesting. It has a lot of really interesting information in it that most people don't know. Check that video out. It came out on Tuesday. On Friday, it says slot strategies on it. That video, it's also a really, really important video. It talks about a lot. It really kind of opens your eyes a little bit about what exactly is slot machine strategy. So please do be sure to check out that video because it is really awesome and it is really important. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for coming into the show tonight. As a reminder, episode number 13 of Real Talk is going to be next Sunday. Live shows are always 7 p.m. Central. So next Sunday is going to be episode number 13. And also tomorrow is Member Monday. Thank you all so much. And a big thank you to our moderators, Tammy and Susan. Really do appreciate you guys. Tammy, Susan, and Ethan. Don't want to leave Ethan out. As always, best of luck. Stay safe. And I'll see you again next